Now we'd like to move on to next gen governance, and I'd like to introduce Jim and Kellie.
Thank you, Adriana. I appreciate that. Now let's turn our focus to what happens post-signature and the often ignored and usually unappreciated topic of governance. Next slide, please. So, and not just governance, but next generation or next gen governance. Governance as a business discipline is a very broad topic, but here we want to focus on the sourcing, procurement, service, and supplier management domain as companies are looking to up their governance game to meet all the challenges and trends, which you've already heard about today. But what does next generation governance mean? Next generation governance is transformational governance that provides more than just policies and controls and compliance. It advances governance to a more strategic function within the organization that's focused on accomplishing business transformation objectives, achieving business outcomes and value, promotes innovation, and enables more data-driven decision-making. Now, there are a lot of things that are driving demand for next-gen governance. You've heard a lot of the trends that are going on around the upstream, but great, now I have a new supplier relationship that needs to fit into my broader supplier ecosystem. And so what are the things that are driving the demand for next-generation governance? Well, a couple of them I want to point out. As Swapnil stated in his earlier session, companies are laser focused on business outcomes and value streams. Their new delivery models are involving multi-supplier service chains. The need for improved analytics and data-driven decision-making has been stressed over and over again, as well as the better visualization of governance measures, making it easier for consumers of governance information to use that information to make better decisions. As everyone's probably aware, there's greater emphasis on risk and security and compliance for notable reasons. You don't need to look any farther than all the different security issues, as well as the challenges in the service chains that occurred due to all the impacts from COVID, not only in companies and their workforces being remote, but even their suppliers having to move to a remote model. And as Kevin mentioned at the start of our Provider Connect, the demand for digital transformation is accelerating. So the drive for next generation governance is real. Next slide, please. Realizing next gen governance requires changes across all 4 dimensions of governance. It isn't simply about better SLA performance reporting or meeting cadences and service operations. It involves a better understanding of business value streams and outcomes and how multi-supplier service delivery enables those outcomes. A more intentional and proactive service integration and management or multi-supplier integration strategy, more capable digital platforms, as well as better master data management as it relates to all the different sources of data that feed into next-gen governance, and a proactive, strategic focused governance strategy. Next slide, please. From our various management consulting advisory services to our Avasant's SaaS-based governance platform and various governance service offerings that Avasant has, we're able to help our clients enable and leverage next-gen governance. Most of our clients are struggling in this area. Much of their governance has been established on kind of the older control-only model, and they need to transform into one where governance is a value add and provides information and access to those levers that will help them drive to achieve their business transformation goals. So why don't we take a minute here? Kellie, why don't you provide us with a few practical examples using our Avasant's governance platform of the things suppliers can do to help their clients enable next-gen governance and some of the benefits they can realize.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so Avasant offers a proactive management that enables governance maturity out of the box with automated digital workflows where the client and supplier can actively participate in reporting and governance processes together. A governance platform should form a single source of the truth with a real-time view of contracts, compliance, and analytics. And here you can see the vendor dashboard here where it will take all of the contract information, data, and analytics and store it in one repository where that real-time holistic view of the contract can be seen and managed. Can we move to the next slide, Andriana? Thank you. By using the Avasant's workflows and tool notifications, it will allow the supplier to digitally report performance, submit and track invoicing, monitor compliance, risks and issues, and also deliverable submission and acceptance. So here you can see where the supplier could submit their governance report. That would then kick off the performance validation process where you can see that performance reporting period, that what the provider has submitted for their KPIs and CPIs, and then that would then go through the whole validation performance process to where you would be able to see that the performance on a rolling basis and what that was. So this does help to drive the governance conversation and client relationships. It also reinforces and supports the next generation transformational governance. And with that, Jim, I will pass it back over to you.
So really kind of summarizing from a platform perspective, whether it's the Avasant's platform or the client's existing platforms or some other collection of tools, the message here is that you need to make it easy for clients to govern you and to enable their next-gen governance journey. And the examples that Kellie described, participating in digital workflows and notifications so that things don't drop in the cracks, that there's visibility, that everyone is looking at a single source of the truth, and you're generating over time more and more data and information and analytics that enable decision-making. The opportunity for greater automation. A lot of the governance that takes place today that we see in our clients is very manual, and many of the types of governance reporting and whatnot can be automated, can be simplified, can be digitized, so that can be used as information to have better conversations about spending trends, demand and consumption and performance. And then lastly, to provide visibility around the areas of risk, security, and compliance as it relates to suppliers, not only the supplier performing a particular function, but the other suppliers upon which you may be dependent as you participate in those multi-supplier service chains. Suppliers who want their client partnerships to thrive must demonstrate thought leadership, initiative, and innovation to enable their clients' next-gen governance journey, regardless of the governance capabilities maturity of the client. Clients are feeling the pressure, they are accelerating their business transformation efforts, and they realize that they need to improve and up their governance game. They may not know how, and there is a lot of change associated with this. Next-gen governance is going to be transformational governance, and it's not optional. It's an imperative for every company to achieve their business objectives in the way the world is today. Avasant's available and ready to partner with you as you consider next-gen governance as part of your new sourcing deals, or you want to drive greater value in your existing ones. Thanks for your time this morning. Back to you, Andriana.